Okay, apparently I was not accurately streaming earlier. I'm streaming now. Welcome. This is a stream covering the Michigan primary, and I am coming to you live at 10:30 p.m. on August 4th. Michigan features a primary between Abdul El-Sayed and Haley Stevens, and it is about 2 hours, 2.5 hours since polls closed in Michigan, and there is not a call in the race. As things stand now, Abdul has a 3.1% lead, although this keeps changing. Now he's got a 3.2% lead, and 52% of the vote is in. So it's looking really good for Abdul El-Sayed. I said on my Facebook that if he wins by up to 5%, that's a really good indicator that progressives should be taken seriously this election and probably have more juice and to win these races. If he wins by 5 to 10%, that's an overwhelming mandate. That is something. I mean, he was not supposed to win this race at all, and the fact that he's up by 24, he's up by 3.2%. He's probably going to come in close to that 5% line, and I think which side he lands on it is going to say a lot. But I'm going to take you through this county by county and just kind of guide you to understand why this race is so important, and why it's worth looking at. Now, Steve Kornacki's doing a great job over on MSNBC, so we will be checking in with him from time to time. This is the Kornacki cam. This is behind the scenes. He does hits on the news network sometimes, but in general, he's doing good coverage over there, and I would recommend you go over there once I'm done streaming. But in the meantime, let's take a look. So um, we've got the, sorry, I'm just making sure I'm recording properly and everything. Oops. So, okay, let's go to Michigan here. So a couple things real quick. Here's a population density map of Michigan. So as you can see, most of the population is in the south, kind of around this tier of counties, and lower up to Bay County is kind of a big one. And then this one, I don't know what that county is. Let me check. That is Grand Traverse County, also has some population. But anyway, so that's important to note that most of the population is down here. I guess there's no data on this one county. That's weird. Why would there not be data on? Hold on. Is that like St. Clair County or something? I'm not sure what this is doing here. This is Wayne. This is Macomb. Okay, so the one that goes, yeah, this one. There's no data on St. Clair County for some reason, but that it has population in it for sure. So, okay, Wayne County's coming in. Oh, that's, yeah, good news. Okay, so let me just do this real quick. Let's stop screwing around. Well, one more bit of screwing around. Here's where the colleges in Michigan are located. 1, 2, 3, up in the UP. These two are very small. This one's decent, Northern Michigan University, and then we've got classically your Michigan State, your University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Michigan Dearborn, Michigan Flint, and then you've got, what is this? Western Michigan. You've got Grand Valley State University, which is in Kent County, I think. And then you've got Central Michigan, Penn State, Fern State, something like that. SVSU, Saginaw Valley, and then Oakland University, sorry, and then Wayne State University right over here, as well as Eastern Michigan University. So that is a rundown of the universities of Michigan. Good to know where those are, along with the population map. Okay, let's go over to the counties now. So here's what's happening. In 2024, Trump won all but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counties. 9 counties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 counties. Harris won 9 counties. Trump won the rest. This time around, that is not the case. The more left-wing candidate, Abdul El-Sayed, is winning a lot of counties that Trump won. For example, all these counties up here, Trump won. El-Sayed has leads like 7%, 1%, 6%, 4%, leads that flip these counties in a way that you wouldn't expect. You'd expect Haley Stevens to be winning all of these counties because she's the conservative Democrat running in those counties. But in fact, El-Sayed is winning and taking margin out of what should have been a Haley Stevens victory point. Meanwhile, if you go down south in the state, Haley Stevens' best counties so far are Wayne County and Oakland County. We're going to come back to both of those, but for now, just remember those. Let's just kind of go through county by county. So let's go with Ingham County, Lansing. Right now, El-Sayed enjoys a 32% lead out of Ingham County. In 2024, Harris won that county by about 29 or 30%, 29%. So the fact that El-Sayed is winning that by 32% means he's overperforming relative to Harris performed to Trump. What that means is that in a left-right dynamic, which is not the only story that's going on tonight, but in that strictly speaking dynamic, left versus right, the left-wing candidate is overperforming relative to the right-wing candidate. And you can do this for any county. You can go to Kent County. This is an important one for El-Sayed. He's got a 31% margin of victory there. In 2024, Harris won Kent County by 5%. So the fact that he's blowing Haley Stevens out of the water in this county means he is dramatically overperforming on this sort of west side of the state here. Let me take a look at what Steve Kornacki's saying real quick. All right. I'm not going to just crib their entire stream there, but I respect Kornacki Cam much as the next person. We'll leave that playing, but I'll keep the audio down. So what he's saying, he's talking about Wayne County. Let's take a look at Wayne County. Now, in Wayne County, we would expect the liberal candidate to win, but there's a different dynamic in Wayne County. That is the black vote. The black vote is very heavy in Wayne County, and Harris won that by about 30%. Hillary Clinton did even better, noticeably better. I think if we were to go to like 2016 CNN election results and go over to Michigan, this is something I'm just such a nerd that I kind of do this a lot. You'll see that Hillary Clinton won Wayne County by 34% of the vote that year, whereas Harris won it by about 29% of the vote. So Hillary Clinton won it by 34%. Now, in a left-right dynamic, you'd expect the left-wing candidate to win there. However, because of the black vote in Wayne County, which is not as left-wing as some of the other liberal vote in the state, Haley Stevens is doing better with that particular population. So she's up by 13%. Now, she's losing in a lot of other places in the state. So this is really the place, one of the 2 or 3 places she needs to rack up margin. She's got a 17,000 vote lead out of Wayne County so far, but that number has been tightening all night. It started out with her with like a 2-to-1 margin, 66 to 33% kind of thing, and now it's tightened up to a 13% margin. So that as that tightens, El-Sayed's overall state lead goes up. Meanwhile, she's also winning in neighboring Oakland County, her home county. She's from the congressional district there, and she was born and raised there, even though she talks like she's from the Upper Peninsula. She's got a 92% or 90.2% of the vote in. She's got a 9,000 vote lead. That number has fluctuated between about 4,000 and 8,000 votes most of the night. It's up to 9,000 now, but as a percentage, it stayed relatively similar. It's been 3 to 5 points, and right now it's about 4.5, 5 points. So yeah, she's winning that by a slim margin, but enough to like get some net vote. I predicted earlier when I thought I was streaming that I wasn't, and I wasn't streaming, that she needed to win this county by about 10% of the net outcome to win the statewide election. And she's not hitting that benchmark. In Macomb County, this is a county Trump won in 2024 against Biden or Harris, excuse me, by about 13, 14%. The liberal candidate, the left candidate, El-Sayed, is actually winning that. So he's done the equivalent of flipping this county, and he's winning that one substantially by 12%. That's extremely good news from him. Then if we go over to, Haley Stevens is doing pretty well in these Lake Huron style area counties, including Bay County, which is fairly populous. She's overperformed. I think she's got, let's see, that's 16 to 19% victory margin there. Trump won that by about 14, so she's overperforming relative to Trump. That's good news for her. Going back to this year, though, looking at Genesee County, which is where Flint, Michigan is, Uh, El-Sayed is losing there, but only by about 5 or 6% of the vote. That's similar to what Trump lost it by. Trump lost it by about 4%. So the fact that Haley Stevens is winning that is supposed to be a stronghold for her. It's only about a third in, so we'll see what happens. But that margin, again, she'd like to see that go up to win this statewide race. Livingston County, this is a county that Trump ended up winning. So the fact that the more left candidate is winning here over the right wing candidate, Haley Stevens, is a great sign for his overall statewide margins. In fact, I'd say this county, more than any other county, looks to be the one that's going to be the bellwether. Whoever wins this county, whatever the margin here is probably going to be similar to what it is statewide. So the fact that he's up by 3 there, probably about what it's going to land. Maybe it'll land closer to 5. I think my personal prediction coming into tonight is that he would win by 8%. I posted on Facebook again. If he wins by more than 5, that's a massive mandate. If he wins by more than 10, that's a warning sign to anybody taking AIPAC money, so that you maybe want to reconsider that. So the fact that if he comes in around 5 to 8, that's a really clear mandate for change and anti-establishment fervor. Here's the deal: Haley Stevens spent like $60,000 of outside money on this race. Like, she got so much AIPAC money that it's oh, hold on, gotta reset my camera here. Okay, so the fact that she is losing this race after having like outspent him 7-1 with $60 million outside money, especially from AIPAC, Democratic Majority for Israel, and other affiliated Israel lobby groups, is a massive indicator that the traditional fear that Democratic primary candidates had about outside spending from third-party groups is no longer operative. In fact, I would say it's now a bit of an albatross around the neck of candidates because voters view AIPAC money as toxic, both because Israel is a genocidal rogue state that is out of control, causing war after war after war in the Middle East, causing America to be less safe, causing our tax money to go flooding out to pay for other people in a place that we are not even, getting benefit from, let alone stabilizing the world or anything. Israel is a rogue state violating international law and committing genocide, and the voters are sick of that in places like Michigan and the Midwest, and in a lot of places. And in addition to being sick of that, we also want to see investment here at home. We want to see healthcare be accessible to everybody. We want to see grocery prices come down, etc. The fact that we're taking so much money out of our economy and giving it to the war machine in Israel is outrageous. And so the fact that the war machine and the Israel lobby and all these groups, the crypto industry, AI, all these groups spent so much money trying to buy this election and it doesn't seem to be working is a huge deal. And that's why I'm covering it tonight on stream. Let me go over, though, I've done a lot of counties. We'll do some more counties in a minute, but let me go to this Twitter account that I follow. This is UMichVoter, a local Michigander who is very, very, very smart. And right now, with conservative estimates on behalf of Abdul, he's got this race handicapped at a 2% margin on the conservative edge of things. He's keeps posting these very specific updates out of precincts. Abdul's winning Dearborn, not unexpectedly, by 87 to 12. That's a that's a 7-to-1 ratio. Hilly has mail vote left in gray areas in this map. So this is Wayne County here, I think. Or is this St. Clair? Oh, Oakland, Macomb, most of it. Okay, so she's going to pick up vote out of Macomb. She's going to get a little bit of the vote out of these places. So basically, he's just posting areas where the votes come in and where it hasn't. It's useful to follow if you want to get into the granular details. Election day vote out of Detroit is breaking pretty even for Abdul and Stevens. Stevens needed to win Detroit by a massive margin, and she's just not. It's getting tighter there. 42-55, so about 13% margin. She needs to win that by at least 20 or 30% to have a chance, and she's not quite at that level, 44% reporting. Looking at, again, this Twitter account, Abdul winning Lake Michigan, Cherry Coast counties. So yeah, these are the sort of slightly left of the rest of the state, but pretty much a swing area of the state, actually. Leelanau County, for example, in the 2024 election, Harris won that by 8%. Abdul is winning Leelanau County by 17 or 18%. So he's doubled that left versus right percentage margin. Let's take a look at what Steve Kornacki's saying. He's probably doing the same thing I'm doing. Anyway, that just gives you a flavor of what Kornacki's doing tonight. He's comparing Stevens numbers to Whitmer and Biden numbers in the Biden primary election and the Whitmer general election. Well, actually, the Whitmer primary gets to Abdul El-Sayed, I think. And Haley Stevens is underperforming those two, and thus she is coming in less. Let's take a look at Cass County. Cass County, about a tie there. El-Sayed's winning by 0.3. In 2024, Trump wins Cass County by 34%. Massive underperformance there by Stevens. Look at Berrien County; it's only 28% in, but El-Sayed is up there by 12%. Harris lost there by 8 points, so massive overperformance by El-Sayed there. Looking at Ottawa County with 89% in, El-Sayed's up by 4,000 votes there for a margin of about 13%. In the general election 2024, Trump wins that by 20 points, so that's a flip. That's a massive swing towards Abdul El-Sayed. Looking at Mason County with 63% in, Abdul El-Sayed is slightly winning there by 0.3%. That's a county that Trump won by 22%. Massive swing towards Abdul El-Sayed. In fact, all of these Michigan counties, even Allegan County, which I don't think is even close to being done yet, but all of these counties on the Lake Michigan side of Michigan are swinging pretty substantially towards Abdul El-Sayed. That is one trend that I've noticed, including Kent County, which is one county over. Kent County, 18,000 vote margin there for El-Sayed and a 29%. Again, this is one that Harris won by only 5%. So massive overperformance there. In Ingham County, that hasn't moved. Eaton County, Steve Kornacki was just talking about that. El-Sayed maintains a narrow 1.5% margin there. Trump wins Eaton County by 4%, so that's a swing, but it's not a massive swing. Livingston, we talked about the 3% margin. It's kind of a bellwether. Washtenaw County, which is where Ann Arbor is, the University of Michigan is, that is a 21,000 vote lead now, a 30% margin. Harris won this county by a 43% margin, so you'd like to see El-Sayed doing better there. He's actually underperforming Harris in that county, but maybe that's some suburban connection to Detroit here in Wayne County. Wayne County, again, there's a 12% difference, about a 13% difference there. That is a relatively small difference in elections like 2024, where Harris got a 29% margin, and 2016, where Clinton got a 37% margin out of Wayne County. So the fact that she's only got 13% is not going to cut it for Haley Stevens if she wants to win this statewide election. In Oakland County, her home county, she is up by now a little bit more, actually. She's up by 12,000, about 11,000 votes, for a percentage total of about almost exactly 5%, with 92% reporting. So that's 5%. I predict that she needs about 10% of a margin there to win that race. Going over to Macomb County with 43% reporting, and there's some favorable area out for Stevens, so that's important to note here. But El-Sayed's up by 12% there. That's a county that Trump won by a significant margin in the 2024 election by 13%. So anything close to a break even is a victory here for El-Sayed, and he's up by 12% for now. So let's see how that shakes out. Like I said, these like Huron counties are kind of conservative. So St. Clair County, unlike the Lake Michigan side, the Lake Huron side are very conservative. So St. Clair County, Stevens is up by 15 or 14%. If you go over to the 2024 thing, it's a 35% blowout for Trump. So she's not blowing out Abdul El-Sayed there, which is a bad sign for her. But it's still, she is winning these. And that one, she's winning by an underperforming margin, whereas in Sanilac County, slightly fewer people there, but she's winning by a healthier margin of about 25, 26%. Trump won Sanilac County by 50%. So yeah, actually, she is underperforming there substantially as well, even though she's winning very distinctively. In Huron County, named after Lake Huron, it is at a 91.4% of the vote in. She is winning by about 25%. In 2024, Harris won there by 40%, so she's underperforming there as well, but not terribly. In Tuscola County, she is winning there by about 20 points. Trump wins Tuscola County in 2024 by 43 points, so she's underperforming by about half there. It's the same old story. You see that same old story repeating a lot. Haley Stevens is performing at about half the victory margin of Trump in many of these conservative counties. So she's underperforming in conservative counties, and in fact, the Upper Peninsula, she's losing counties that Trump won. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those 6 counties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are all won by Trump. So Marquette's the only Upper Peninsula county that Harris won. She won it by 7, 8, 9 points, and it looks like we don't have that in yet, but I'm guessing El-Sayed is going to win there. There's a university there, University of Northern Michigan. And then if you look at these other counties where El-Sayed's leading, I mean, they're small margins, and Haley Stevens could make them up, but she should be blowing him out in these rural counties. These are conservative areas, and she's the conservative. She's a right-wing Democrat. She should be winning. She should be blowing him out in these counties. And instead, he's like technically holding on to leads in these counties. In Delta County, which is almost done counting, he's got a 3% lead. She's not going to win that. So Delta County, Trump won that by 30%. And if you look at this year, he's blowing her. I mean, he's flipped that. He's taken that 30% off the table and is up by 3 on top of the 30 he's already flipped. That's an amazing improvement relative to the Trump-Harris dynamic. And again, it's not a one-to-one comparison. You can make arguments about demographics and things, but at the end of the day, if Haley Stevens wanted to win this race, she needed to win places like Delta County, and she's not. Looking at Chippewa County, El-Sayed's up there by 300 votes, or about 8, 9%. Chippewa County, Trump wins in 2024 by 24%, so she's underperforming there. If you look at Emmett County, El-Sayed's winning there substantially by 12%. Trump wins Emmett County in 2024 by 11 or 12% there. So he's flipped that one. If you look at Charlevoix County, El-Sayed's winning by 2% with 80% of the vote reporting. Charlevoix County, Trump wins by 17%. Again, massive improvement relative on the left-right spectrum on this primary night. And let's see here. Oops, sorry, I got a message. But anyway, so this is going pretty well for El-Sayed. He's on track to win. The only question is, what is the margin going to look like? Right now, he's up by 3.3. That, and I predicted earlier. I said, and I started streaming at like 8 or something, and part of it got cut off. But if you're watching this one, this is the second stream I'm doing. He's up by a margin now of 3.2%, and it got as close as about 2.9%. I said I think it was going to kind of stabilize there, and then it's not going to get much better for Stevens for the rest of the night. And that has held true. El-Sayed has gained ground relative to her. And the important thing is this margin is holding. This is about 30,000 votes now. It has rarely been closer than 30,000 votes since we got to that point. So it's looking really good for him, but let's keep watching as the night goes on. Oakland County, she's still up by 11, 92 in there. A little bit more out of Wayne now. That's tightened up a little bit. It was a 12% margin for Stevens. Now it's only 8%. That's actually terrible news for Stevens in Wayne County. Let's see what Steve Kornacki has to say about Wayne County. We're both looking at the same thing. All right, so I'm gonna pause this. I mean, that's good insight. The difference between what Steve Kornacki is doing and what I'm doing is I'm comparing the results out of the past couple presidential elections to get a sense. This is obviously imperfect, and frankly, his method is imperfect too because he's comparing it to like Whitmer, El-Sayed primary, and Biden primary against a field of many candidates. So they're good markers, but they're not going to be perfect. I'm comparing it to the presidential elections because it gives you a sense of on a left-right spectrum, Democrat, Republican spectrum, which is a proxy for left-right primary voter spectrum. You can get some insight into what's going on. And so, when we look at counties where Trump won, for example, Berrien County, which is coming in more now, El-Sayed remains up here by 11%. Trump won that county by 8%. And so the fact that Stevens is not performing up to that level is why I'm making my argument that she's doing poorly. Although, again, this margin, we're going to see if I think the real question is um, whether he's going to get more than 5% of a margin on top of her. And really, what's going to matter is when Wayne County finally gets more in. I mean, this number keeps coming; it trickles in a little bit at a little bit, and it keeps getting worse for Stevens as the night goes on. I suspect, however, that there might be times when she wins more votes out of Wayne County, but overall, it's not. I don't think she's going to win by even 8 points here. I think she might win by a couple, 5 points, whatever, out of Wayne County. So we'll see. Meanwhile, Oakland, that's one of her strongholds. She has that 11,000 vote margin, 5%. That's holding strong. In Macomb County, nothing new there. Abdul is maintaining his 5% lead. He was up 12%. Now he's only up 10%. So she cut a little bit of that margin, a little bit. And going to Ingham County, no change. Eaton County, no change. Berry County, Stevens is winning there by 8 points. In the Trump election with Harris, Berry County went to Trump by 30 points, so she's massively underperforming there. We're still waiting on Marquette County up in northern Upper Peninsula, Michigan. And then in let's see what else. Let's look at Bay County. Bay County 95% in. She's up there by 13. Trump won Bay County by let's see, 14. So right on track on in Bay County. She's meeting the Trump number there pretty accurately. In let's look at Genesee. That's still at 33%. No change there. Pretty close there. Actually, I expect Haley Stevens to win Genesee County. Strong African American vote out of Genesee and Flint, Michigan, but it'll be close. I think that one was really close. Yeah, Harris won that by 4 points in the general election 2024. So I expect Stevens to win by a similar margin. So the fact that she's up by 6 points is probably about where that's going to land. But we'll see. It might tighten a little bit. In Wayne County, that is staying the same. Monroe County has a decent population. She's up there by 6%, 6.5%. Trump won Monroe County by 27%. So again, massive underperformance by Stevens there. In Hillsdale County, Stevens is up by 6%. Harris won Hillsdale County. I'm sorry, lost Hillsdale County by 52%. So the fact that Stevens is only up there by 6% is a crazy underperformance. She should be running. Not that it's that many votes. She's losing hundreds and hundreds of votes that she absolutely needs to win. I am actually a little bit surprised that this race hasn't been called yet. I suspect that if we get just a little bit more than 50% out of Wayne County, they might start thinking about making a call in this race. Let's go over to you, Michigan voter, for the latest on Twitter detail outcomes here. St. Clair Shores in Macomb County, which is a huge swingy town in the general, goes to Abdul. So this is a swing area in the state in Macomb County. It goes to Abdul. He's still maintaining that 5,000 or so vote lead out of Macomb County, 10-point margin, and that is a big deal because that is a swing area, and he wins it by 60 votes, by about 1%, 0.6% actually of the vote there. So interesting stuff. Yep. Not looking good. Again, these are experts looking at the race. So it's not looking good for Stevens. She is probably going to lose. Let's go over to Dave Wasserman and see if he's, quote, seen enough. He has not. This is the guy that really is the one to look at for early election calls. It may take NBC a little bit of time to feel confident in making this call, but I'm about 99% confident that Abdul is going to win this election. I'd say 99.5. And the only question is, what is the margin going to be? Right now, it's 3.4. That number has actually gone up in the last couple minutes. That margin is expanding. Let's go over to Steve Kornacki now and see what he's got to say. Okay, so they're talking about Kent County now with 65% of the vote in. The margin is 3.4, so he's growing his margin. Looking at Kent County, like they were just talking about, 95% in, 23,000 raw vote margin there for El-Sayed, or about 28%. Again, Trump wins there. I'm sorry, Harris wins there by only 5%, which was one of the reasons she lost the state, probably. But you'd expect the more conservative candidate to get somewhere in this mid 40 range, like just like Steve Kornacki was just talking about. And so the fact that Haley Stevens didn't get up to the mid 40s and is only hanging out there at 34% is a dreadful, like, this is a significant and meaningful underperformance by Stevens. Despite having $60 million of outside PAC money, AIPAC just blowing negative ad after negative ad after negative ad on El-Sayed, trying to dirty him up. It didn't work. Like, the voters of Michigan are smarter than that. And so it's really nice to see Abdul prevail against that headwind. Now, looking over at Wayne County, we're keeping our eyes on here for this to cross that 50% threshold. It has not yet. The margin remains at 8.1%. We'll keep our eyes on that. Macomb County has got quite a few more votes in now. It's at 48.9, so that's almost half, and that has that 6,000 vote lead for El-Sayed remaining stable. Although the percent is 9.8 now. It was at 10 on the dot, then it was at 9.9. Now it's at 9.8, so it's staying close. I think what's happening is that the raw vote difference is staying the same, but each denominator and numerator tick up, and thus the percentage slowly contracts. In Oakland County, with 95%, almost all of the vote in, Stevens wins there by 12,000 votes approximately, or 5 to 6%. That, my friends, is probably going to be that spells doom for her. That is not a big enough margin to overcome all of the Abdul El-Sayed overperformance in the rest of the state. A couple things I'm noticing now over in Schoolcraft County is now almost completely in, and Stevens did pull a last minute win out there with 3% victory margin, although Trump won Schoolcraft by 32, so 3% to 32, massive underperformance there. Not a lot of people there, but massive underperformance. And then the other one is Ontonagon County. Great name. Love these Michigan county names. Ontonagon's got to be right up there, although I really also like Sheboygan and Charlevoix, Leelanau, and Mackinac. Mackinac. Love these Michigan county names. They're great. But I really have to say I think Ontonagon might be right up there. Keweenaw. But anyway, sorry, Ontonagon 90% in, 49 to 43. That's a 6.6% margin. Trump won Ontonagon by 30 points. So the fact that Stevens is at 6%, massive underperformance, like a factor of, she's 20% of what Trump netted out of that county. Very, very disappointing performance from her there. And then going down to Ingham County, no change there. It looks like 31% margin for El-Sayed and net 8,000 votes or so. Eaton County still remains the same. Livingston's done basically 1.7%. So she did tick up her margin slightly there. 1.7% margin victory for El-Sayed there. It was closer to 3 earlier. In Oakland, that's done. Basically, Macomb stays the same. Wayne County is now over half in, and that percentage is right around the same. It's about 7.9%. It might be slowly tightening, but very, very slowly. So that's not looking good for Stevens. Let's go back live to Steve Kornacki. Let me see what how this looks. I love the MSNBC election music. It's always exciting. Yep, so his margin remains at 3.4%, as you can see there, while he's making that call, which we cannot detect at all right now, sadly. Um, we'll go back over to the live map, and oops, that's me. Well, let's see if there's anything going on. Macomb remaining stable. Oakland stable. Wayne County stable, no change. There might be like minor percentage increases in some of these conservative counties. Genesee, no change. Livingston, no change. Eaton, no change. Ingham, no change. Clinton, I just saw one come in over here. Menominee County, El-Sayed wins. Or was that the one that just came in? I'm not sure. I just saw it come in though. Berrien County, a lot more in now. El-Sayed retains his 7-point lead there, outperforming Trump, or outperforming Harris relative to Trump. Cass County remaining ahead there. What County maintaining a sizable lead there, actually. That's a surprisingly large lead on this Lake Michigan County coastline here. 15%. You know, there's a decently large, if I recall, LGBT population in Ottawa County. Let me, what was the, let's see, that is, so there's this gay resort called Sagatuck. Okay, that's kind of up by right here by Kalamazoo Lake. I'm just curious. Is that Leelanau County? It might be Leelanau. It's just kind of west of Grand Rapids, west and a little south. So I'm just curious if because that's kind of Kent County, so it might be Ottawa County actually. I think that might be where it is. Either there or Allegan, but either way, the fact that there's a big LGBT population is instructive there. The LGBT population is one of the most left-leaning populations in the country, and so I could easily see them breaking for El-Sayed over the right-wing bigot Haley Stevens. Nice to see that. Keep it going, gays, out of Ottawa County. And that's a 15-point margin out of there. Again, this is a county that Trump ended up winning in the general by 20 points. So, you know, of the 70,000 that voted for Harris, I'm guessing most of them are participating in this primary today. Out of the other counties okay, Clinton's in now at 55%. That is a El-Sayed narrow 1% lead in Clinton County, a county that Trump wins by 9% in 2024. So that's a massive shift so far towards El-Sayed. Ingham County is now over 50%, and the margin there just got better for El-Sayed, 35% out of margin out of Ingham, a county that Trump lost by 29%. So 30 El-Sayed is outperforming Harris and Ingham by about 6%. So that's pretty good. Livingston, they revised the total outstanding vote there. So that's still coming in. That's still coming in. The margin's at 1.7%. See how that plays out. Oakland, stable. Macomb looks stable as well. Wayne County, stable. And I'm not sure what else to tell you, but in general, the let's Washtenaw. Washtenaw is important, and it looks like maybe a tiny bit more came in there. It's a 30% margin. I don't know. Maybe that's the same. It might be the same. So yeah, not a lot to report. Saginaw 71% in. Stevens is up there by 15, 16 points. Saginaw is a place that Trump won by 4, so Stevens is doing very good in Saginaw County. Saginaw? Yeah. Shiawassee County, Stevens is up by 12%. Shiawassee was won by Trump by 23%, so she's underperforming there. And then looking over at, we need to find Genesee County, 42% now in Genesee County. Stevens is holding a 9% lead there, which is expected for now, but Harris won that county by 4 or 5%, so she's overperformed Harris by about double. And that's good for her, but we'll see if that holds. I'm not sure that it will. I suspect that margin might be close to 4 or 5, but we'll see. If she holds that at 9%, that's a good result for her. It won't be enough to win the whole election. We're really waiting on Wayne County. That's going to be probably the thing that the decision desk is waiting on to call this thing. 27 out of Huron, 26 out of Sinilac, St. Clair 15, which is massive underperformance. Bay County, same margin as Trump. Let's look at Alpena County. 47, so El-Sayed's winning in Alpena by 1%. Trump won that county by 28, 9%. So that is a massive overperformance by El-Sayed there. Looking at Sheboygan County, 13% victory for Stevens in Sheboygan. Looks to be about 30% from the Trump view. Hang on. Let me check in with them here now. And I'm going to turn that down just a little bit because there's a little bit more vote in that snuck in there while he's talking. Let's take a look at where that may have come from. Okay, so a little bit more out of Oakland now, interestingly enough. That is a 15,000 vote margin now for Stevens. That's her home county. So that's a tick up of about 3,000 net votes for her. That's good for her. However, in Macomb County, that same Wayne County ticked up a little bit as well, and it looks like well, it's about a 13,000 vote. It's about the same, so it's a similar margin that it was before. Kent County. Oh, here's a big one. Yeah, this is now 95% in Kent County, and there's a 23,000 margin there, or a 25 6 27-point win in a county that Harris won by only about 4%. So that's a massive pickup there. Ottawa, same story there. Let me go back to Steve Cornett. You know what? I just realized the desktop audio isn't playing at all. That is kind of
But
crazy.
ultimately, this is, this is a
Man,
small, it's a
I am
big
so
county on the
stupid. I
map.
apologize.
It's small compared to Wayne. It's going to produce about
Okay, well now
a
you get the
fifth, a
Steve
sixth of the
Kornacki in the
votes
background
statewide
and me.
that
So sorry
Wayne is
for
going
the
to.
bizarre
So
moment of
if
silence that
Stevens
you
gets
were
a big number out of Flint,
thinking
if
you
she
were
gets out
listening
of
to Steve
Genesee with a
Kornacki, but
double-digit margin,
now you can really
we're
hear him.
talking
Of course, it might.
4,000 vote
I guess it's probably
plurality
best for my
extra,
stream to not really play
5,000,
too much of his
3,500
stream without
extra
commentating.
additional to what you see
Very
right
used
now,
if I
plurality
commentate and
out of
respond in
Genesee County
transform it.
maybe.
It's not
What
if I
would
just
that do?
stream it
Well, again, like that
raw.
might take off, I say 30,000 and change for El-Sayed statewide. That might take off the and change, okay? That's the effect of having and that's one of the brightest potential spots for her that's left on the map. Saginaw County, as we said, we're sitting at 71%. Is a good number for Stevens out of there. This is one of the places where I think so far at least she's getting a good number. Adam is sending me another note now that he's reviewed my note. So we are agreed on that. And so it's come around to this point where you're looking at Wayne County and you're looking at a question that's a little different than the one that we posed at the start of the night, where we said at the start of the night, can Stevens hit these sort of benchmarks all around the place to get in a place where Detroit can win this for her, right? Okay, Detroit has largely come and gone. There may be, we're trying to find out if there are a few more votes left in Detroit, but most of Detroit is in. Stevens has won it, it looks like, by just under 30 points. Okay, so it's a big margin for her there, but we thought, looking at Wayne, that would be as good as it gets.
Yeah. So we had a little glitch there, but we should be fine. Let's see if Dave Waterman has seen enough. He has not. I don't think he does that as much anymore. He's somebody that used to make early calls in races. I just don't think he's going to do it this year. I think I've seen enough. I will just tell you right now that I am now 99.99% sure that Abdul El-Sayed is going to win this race, and that I would make the call on a network now. 36,000 plus vote lead statewide. Dearborn is in fully, but so is the Detroit downtown. So let's go back to the map here and just kind of maybe I'll refresh this website and make sure that we're getting the latest numbers. But in general, probably a similar story is unfolding from what we've been talking about. In the race for U.S. Senate, the Democratic primary, Abdul El-Sayed leads Haley Stevens by 49.6 to 46.5, margin of 3.1%. I predict that may grow to over 5%. My initial prediction for the night was 8%. I think I will be slightly disappointed in that it might land at 5 or 6%, or maybe even 4%. Either way, though, these are massive outcomes for somebody who should never have won this race. Abdul El-Sayed is a leftist progressive candidate who's running on a platform of opposing funding Israel, of increasing access to medication, Medicare for all, basically. He's running on a platform of getting money out of politics, and he's been outspent by a margin of 7-1 in this race overall. including $60 million from outside interest groups from the crypto industry, from AI, from big pharma, from big tech, and most notably from AIPAC and its affiliates and its individual donors, who have spent a collective total of about um, 2/3 of that outside money against Abdul El-Sayed, with negative attack ad after negative attack ad after negative attack ad. And the people of Michigan are smarter than that. They have not fallen for this foreign influence campaign from Israel to affect their vote. They are sick of it, frankly, and so am I. I hate the fact that Israel and its lobbying group, AIPAC, are interfering in American elections again and again, especially the Democratic primaries. And then like Israel spends its entire political machine to defeat Democrats in the general election. If Democrats and the Democratic Party were smart, they would reject it as a party. They should ban it, but they're not. These numbers keep changing a little bit, little by little here. Right now, the margin is about 36,000 for Abdul El-Sayed, 3.3% margin. We'll see how that continues to shape out. Let's look at the biggest counties on the map. Oops, let me make sure my stream is working first. Oh, I forgot to switch back. Sorry about that. And let me make sure my camera is working. The stream is full of errors. It's hilarious. I will have a better setup again soon. I've been reinstalling some components in my main computer, so my laptop is what I've been using lately. But let me just run you through these numbers. Okay, so right now we've got Abdul El-Sayed up by 38,000 votes now, 49.8. So that's 3.5% margin. That's really good news. The key, it's Marquette that came in. That's excellent. That's another 3,000 vote margin that he's netted there out of Northern Michigan University. That is one big dump of the whole thing. 27-point margin of victory there. That is a county that Harris won by only 9 points. That's a massive overperformance by El-Sayed in Marquette County. In Ingham County, 55% in now. El-Sayed up by a net 10,000 votes, or 32%, massive overperformance relative to Harris, who won Ingham County by 29%. So the fact that he's winning there by 32% is 3% overperformance. I guess not massive. Eaton County, he's winning there by 1.5. Let's look at Kent County, 88.6% in with a margin of 26%. A county that Harris won by only 5%. That's massive. Trump won Ottawa County significantly, and now Harris is up there by 15 points. Harris is winning. I'm sorry, El-Sayed is winning Ottawa County. El-Sayed's also winning Berrien County by about 1,000 votes, or about 9%. That's Trump County. Van Buren was a Trump county. El-Sayed's winning there by less than 1%, but still winning. Cass County, another Trump county, winning there by 0.3. These are counties that Haley Stevens should be winning by large margins. She's actually losing there. In Kalamazoo County, El-Sayed is winning by 7,000 votes, or about 22 points. Kalamazoo County was a Harris stronghold, 18% there. So the fact that El-Sayed is winning there is good news. Is Kalamazoo Western Michigan University? It looks like it, yeah. And then let's go make sure that's working. Okay. Let me update that real quick. So going over to Clinton County, we already looked at that. Livingston is holding about steady at 1.7% margin. Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor is holding steady at 30%. I'd like to see Abdul El-Sayed increase his margin there. We'll see how that shakes out for the rest of the night. Then turning over to Macomb County, that is staying steady with a 10% margin of victory for El-Sayed, 9.8 technically, 6,000 vote margin. But Oakland County has ticked up in favor of Haley Stevens with a margin of about 14,000 votes, or about 6%. Again, I think she has to get that over 10% in order to have a chance of winning this statewide race, and she's not. And it doesn't look like she's got any room left to maneuver there. In Wayne County, that lead has shrunk now to 13,000 votes only between the two of them, with Abdul El-Sayed having 44% of the vote, 44.4 against the 53. That is a 7.9% margin. We'll see. That was at 8.1 10 minutes ago, so that seems to be creeping closer slowly. In Genesee County, that margin has now shrunk, or no, it's maintained steady at 9%. It was at 9% last time I looked as well. So that's a 3,000 net vote gain for out of that county for Stevens. We have no votes in Gladwin, Ogama, or Aranac County, or Muskegon County, but we've got votes in every other county. Oh, also Antrim County. In the Upper Peninsula, El-Sayed has pulled off astonishing victories in Kenowa, Houghton County. Actually, that one's massive. That's 20 points in Houghton County. That's a county that Trump won by 17 points. That's a massive flip there. In Ontonagon, however, Stevens is winning by a slim margin, 6.6% there, a county that Trump won by 30 something. Not a lot of votes from Gogabek yet, but in Iron County, small county, El-Sayed is up by 4%. That's a Trump county by to the tune of 30%. So that's a massive flip there. In Dickinson County, El-Sayed is up by 7%. That is a Trump plus 36 counties. So that's a massive increase for the left candidate there. In Menominee County, El-Sayed is up by 3%. That is a Trump county as well by 34%. In Delta County, which is basically done, El-Sayed has won that county by a margin of 3%, a Trump county by to the tune of 30%. And in neighboring Schoolcraft County, Stevens squeaked out a 3% victory there, a county that Trump won by more than 30%, 32% as well. That is the story all night in the Upper Peninsula. In Marquette County, Abdul El-Sayed won the capital, or the sort of population center of the UP and the location of the University of Northern Michigan by a total of about 3,000 votes, or 22%, a county that Harris won by only 9%, so he overperformed there. In Mackinac County, with 93.9% of the vote in, Stevens leads Abdul El-Sayed by about 3.5%, a county that he should probably be winning by closer to 24%. In Luce County, Stevens has won by 7%. Trump won Luce County by close to 50%. In Chippewa County, El-Sayed is winning by about 9%. That's a county that Trump won by 25, 24% as well. So that's the story of the Upper Peninsula all night. In 2024, only one county went for Harris, and tonight it is a Abdul blowout in not blowout, but a massive swing towards the left of center candidate, the leftist candidate against the right wing candidate relative to the Trump thing. This is a swing. This is a swingy part of the state in some ways. It's very rural, and it proves that somebody like El-Sayed can appeal to folks in these areas. This is an open primary, so Republicans and independents can vote in these primaries too. And if they voted for El-Sayed, it must mean he's reaching out to them. He's a great candidate and he's doing well. In Emmett County, El-Sayed has a 53 to 41% vote lead. In 2024, Trump won that by 11, so that's a switch as well. In Charlevoix County, with 83% reporting, El-Sayed has a 3%, maybe 2% lead, whereas Trump won that by 17 points. In general, the state is looking really good for El-Sayed. I would not be surprised to get a call soon. And that margin of victory now is 3.4%, holding fairly steady with about 37,000 votes separating the two candidates. Interestingly enough, Mallory McMorrow's entire vote total is higher than the difference between the two candidates. I'm sure the Stevens people will feel entitled to those votes, but fuck her, she didn't earn them. These people didn't vote for her. They could have. In Ingham County, no change. In Wayne County, no change. In Oakland County, pretty much no change. It ticked up a little bit, but the margin didn't really shift. In Macomb County, no change. Yeah, no change whatsoever. In Washtenaw County, no change either. Let's go back to the Kornacki cam. This, I hope it doesn't freeze my computer again.
Power.
We'll check it out when it loads. Meanwhile, let's go over to let's check out Radiat County. 5% margin there for Stevens, and that was a Trump plus 27, or sorry, no, 32 plus 32. So massive underperformance there by Stevens. Let's look at Genesee County, still holding at that 9% range. Let's go to Lafayette County, only 7% in. We can't really make any predictions there. St. Clair County, 85.2 in, 15% margin of victory there. That was a Trump plus 34, so that's a massive swing toward the left in that county. Let's go back to the Kornacki cam. One sec.
Useful, because if you're looking for that number, that's, I think, top of the list in Wayne County, and you don't have that yet. What did Dearborn land at as the final result?
Let me see what I had here. 77-20. for El-Sayed.
So El-Sayed 7720 in Dearborn, right? He got in the 18 primary, he got 64% right there. So yeah, built 13 points from what he got back then. Do you have Dearborn Heights by any chance?
Dearborn Heights was still missing mail when I last looked on their website, but let me take a look.
Okay, sorry, I'm just checking my own.
All right. So there's not a whole lot happening on the Kornacki cam, but let's go back.
Okay.
And look
So yeah,
at-
we're just, we've reached the point here where we're waiting.
Currently at 87-12 without the mail vote.
And it was without them. Okay, yeah, because it was closer there. He got 64 in Dearborn and 52 in Dearborn Heights, 75 in Hamtramck. This was
so
2018. Yeah.
I'm going to wind down here.
Canton,
I think
Plymouth.
that you've seen enough to know that Abdul's going to win this race.
It's
the question really
I know
will
it's
be
slowed
whether
down here,
it
kind of, folks.
goes
But
to
I mean, that's the reality.
plus or minus 5. That's
it's
the
kind of
over-under
blip by
probably at
blip
this point,
in
my
Wayne
opinion.
County.
If it's over 5, it's going to be great.
And
If
what
it's
I've told
under
you for
5,
the big outstanding
it's
places,
good,
I'll
but
look
not
through the
great.
list here.
So either way, it's a really good night for progressives who oppose AIPAC. I'm very,
in terms of
very,
raw
very, very
expected
pleased
vote
at the
left.
results tonight, and I can't wait to see what the final margin is.
Yep.
But let's hope it's a big one.
It's Wayne, Genesee. There's Macomb,
38,000.
Ingham.
Yep.
We don't have anything. That's interesting. We don't have anything from Muskegon. What do we make of this in terms of a benchmark? Because we think we're going to get about 25,000 votes out of here. Decent size.
Swingy area.
And yeah, this one, okay. Whitmer got 50.2% here. This was, and Biden got 54.
Abdul, I'm guessing he's going to win that by 5 or 10 points.
In Muskegon.
We'll see.
So yeah, I mean, again, based on how this is going, I think this would be likely good for El-Sayed. Again, a 25,000 vote. If you were to win it by 10 points, he nets 2,500 votes, right?
Hanging steady there in Oakland, hanging steady in Macomb, Wayne County still the same, and Washtenaw County still about the same. Ingham the same.
Could do if it
I mean, look, here's what I can say. Let's go back to the full screen. The cam.
Do we have more?
Sorry.
Inching up in Saginaw. How many votes do we think are left?
So here's what we can say about tonight's primary result.
Not many.
Abdul El-Sayed is going to win this race. He is going to be the nominee for the Democratic Party, going up against the Republican for the 2026 midterm election. He is a progressive who ran on working class values. He also opposes genocide. He supports Medicare for all. He supports raising the minimum wage. He supports getting money out of politics. He supports all the things that anybody on the left would support. He earned the votes of working class people, young people, disaffected people, people who are working with their hands, people in the LGBTQ community. I'm sure he's going to win a pretty sizable majority there. He's going to win voters of color, except for he's not going to win the black ones. But we knew that going in. Haley Stevens has been lying about her endorsement from Obama, which she did not get. But Obama's going to come in and endorse Abdul El-Sayed very quickly after he gets the nomination. And other politicians are going to rally around him, and he's going to win the general election in the fall. So this is extremely good news for people who oppose genocide, for people who oppose Israel meddling in our elections. It's also extremely good news for progressives who want action on healthcare. It's really good news for people who oppose money in politics. It's really good news for people who oppose Chuck Schumer and his corrupt leadership of the party. And I'm unbelievably happy at this result. The only question in my mind is whether he wins by 4%, 5%, 7%, whatever. It's going to be it probably is going to tick up as time goes on. The left of the person on the left of any election always gets more votes in the latest counts of the election, because oftentimes these are the hardest votes to cast. There's some marginal communities and things that cast their vote late. So I think this number is going to go up. But either way, I am 100% confident now that she's going to win, and the only reason, or that he's going to win, rather, that Abdul El-Sayed is going to win, And right now, the only question is what that margin's going to be. And the reason they're waiting here is they don't want to come out and look like an idiot if they're wrong, but they're not going to be wrong because she's not winning by enough in Wayne County to make up for her deficits elsewhere in the state. This is going to be probably a 5 to 7 point victory, which is slightly under what I'd like it to be. Right now it's 3.4, but I suspect that'll go up by at least another 1.5% as the final votes come in. This margin now is a raw total of 36,000 still, so that's holding steady. 70.8% of the vote in. Steve Kornacki, I think, agrees with me. He's been making these surreptitious phone calls all night, and I love it. And it's just going very well. Just going very well. So let's call it a stream there. Thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed analyzing this election with you, and congratulations to progressives for pulling off this upset and winning this important election. I am calling it officially. I've seen enough. Abdul El-Sayed wins the Michigan Senate primary. Thank you so much.